It feels like Americans are leaving the United States everywhere I look. Not long after I got here, I started noticing something. It felt like Americans were everywhere. Families, veterans, retirees, remote workers. And then it made me wonder, are Americans really leaving the United States? Or does it just feel that way? At first, I thought answering that question would be simple. I was wrong. To answer one simple question, I eventually had to piece together evidence from more than 50 countries. Because the United States doesn't actually keep one complete count of Americans who permanently leave the country. But here is the crazy part. Even with incomplete data, the evidence suggests America may be experiencing the biggest wave of citizens moving abroad in decades. So in this video, we're going to answer 3 questions. Is this trend actually real? Where are Americans actually going? And why almost everyone gets this story wrong? And what I discovered completely changed the way I think about Americans moving abroad. So, where do I even start? My first thought was simple. Surely someone had already counted how many Americans were leaving the country. No government keeps one complete count of Americans who permanently move overseas. That meant there wasn't one answer. If I wanted the truth, I'd have to build it myself. I started piecing together government records and residency data from countries all over the world. Every country measured it differently, and some kept detailed records. Others barely tracked it at all. Suddenly, this wasn't one statistic anymore. It was like putting together a puzzle without having all of the pieces. So I decided to start with the countries where the numbers were the hardest to argue with. And the very first one that changed what I thought I knew, the first country I looked was Mexico. That wasn't surprising. Mexico has been one of the most popular destinations for Americans for years. Finding a large American community there didn't really answer my question. It only raised a bigger one. Was Mexico the exception? Or was this happening somewhere else too? So I kept digging. The next country surprised me. And then another. And then another. Portugal, Spain, Japan, Thailand, Costa Rica, Canada, Germany, Australia. Every time I added another country to the map, the picture became a little clearer. Eventually, I wasn't looking at one destination anymore. I was looking at a global pattern. And that's when I realized I've been asking the wrong question. The question was never, why are Americans moving to Mexico? The real question was, why were Americans choosing to build new lives all over the world? And once I started looking for that answer, everything finally started to make sense. At this point, I thought I knew the answer. I assumed most Americans were leaving for one reason: politics.
War against basically civilization. They have waged war against civilization.
But the more I researched and the more I read, the less that explanation held up. Yes, politics was part of the story, of course, but it was not the whole story. Not even close. Instead, I kept finding something much more interesting. Some wanted a lower cost of living. Some wanted a slower pace of life. Some retired overseas. Some moved for love. Some followed a career opportunity. And for millions of people, remote work suddenly made it possible to live almost anywhere in the world. That's when something finally clicked. Millions of people can work remotely. Countries around the world started competing to attract foreign residents. And before someone ever buys a plane ticket, they can spend months researching neighborhoods, watching YouTube videos, joining online communities, comparing costs, and even touring homes from thousands of miles away. Moving abroad isn't suddenly easy. all leaving for one reason. And they aren't all moving to one country. What I found instead was millions of individual decisions. Some are chasing opportunity, others are chasing affordability, family, adventure, or simply a different life. Maybe that's the biggest lesson that I learned from making this video. The real story isn't that Americans are leaving. The real story is that more Americans than ever before have the ability to choose where they want to build their lives. And that changes everything, because once people have more choices, some of them will choose something different. For me, that choice led to Mexico. For someone else, it might lead somewhere completely different. If you enjoy exploring the real differences between life in the United States and Mexico, backed by evidence instead of assumptions, subscribe. Check out the join button below. Members get early access to every new video, behind the scenes content from Mexico, monthly question and answers, and our insider members help to decide what we actually investigate next. Because I have a feeling we're only beginning to understand where this world goes next. Life in Mexico.